Soccer League Grand Final between Sydney City, who will be attacking the goal to our left, and Heidelberg United from Melbourne, who will be attacking the goal to our right. Sydney City, of course, will be playing in their familiar blue and white strip, the white shorts if you've got black and white sets, and Heidelberg United in the black shorts and in the colors of black and gold. The referee now getting ready to blow his whistle for the kick-off, and it'll be Sydney City who kick off in the 1980 Grand Final. Good season for both of these sides. Heidelberg, always the bridesmaid, but never the bride. Sydney City, of course, have won the Phillips League by 1 point from Heidelberg United, and that thanks largely to a very lean patch that Heidelberg United went through towards the end of the season. So here's the first free kick of the match to Sydney City. Stevenson and O'Connor lining up for it. And it results in a goal kick, and I think one of the Heidelberg players is down with probably hit in the face, John.
A very bad start for John Yzendoorn, one of the 5 Socceroos in the Heidelberg side. Took that free kick from Ian Souness flush on the face and repaired the face there. But not a very nice start for John Yzendoorn, and it's obviously going to upset him.
John Yzendoorn, also one of the up-and-coming stars, or certainly over the last couple of years, signed from a state league club in Melbourne by Heidelberg. Probably the discovery of that particular
One of the
season,
discoveries,
John.
yeah. Certainly as far as our Socceroo side's concerned. Got the chance, grabbed it with both hands, and now is a permanent member.
Right, so here's the goal kick, the first touch of the ball for Jeff Olver. As now Kevin Mullen takes it away for Sydney City. Gomez. Joe Watson. Sorry, this is Joe Watson. Out on his right is Stevenson. Watson. Gomez. So first touch of the ball for Todd Clarke, former Australian Socceroo goalkeeper as well. This is wee Joe Watson. Gomez. On his left is Bruce. A long one up towards Trenter. Trenter's under it now. Selemidis brings it away for Heidelberg. Back to Bannon, and safely back to Jeff Olver. Jeff Olver too, getting his chance with Jakubanovic gone. Perhaps we haven't seen too much of him, John, so far in the season. We saw him here down in Canberra in the match against, in Heidelberg's match against Canberra City, which Heidelberg convincingly won, and he certainly accredited himself on that occasion. Todd Clarke, who was a very much a mainstay in the Australian national team 2 or 3 years ago, still a very fine goalkeeper. McMillan. Inside to Bannon, intercepted by Watson. Trenter is with him. Watson with a shot. Easily gathered by Olver. The first shot at goal by either team. A good swift attack by Sydney City. A bit of confusion between Watson and there's Watson there. A bit of confusion between him and Trenter, but the shot eventually easily gathered by Olver. Selemidis brought down. And the free kick to Heidelberg United. It'll be Arthur McMillan to take it. Very fine fullback, not one of the overrated players in the Phillips League. Selemidis looking for Campbell. Selemidis again. Trenter gets it for City. Spanos making a run on the left. Inside to Watson, or rather Kenny Boden. Well intercepted in the last second there in the last split second by Theo Selemidis. A good attack by Sydney City. Fine run by Kenny Boden. And finally it was Theo Selemidis who gave away the throw-in. And it'll be Ian Bruce to take it. Away by Yzendoorn. Bruce. John Stevenson, or rather Ian Souness, the man who attempted that shot. He was the man who earlier had that shot at goal from the free kick. But the ball badly skimming off the outside of his foot. Pat Bannon. John Yzendoorn. And this really is Johnny Warren, I suppose, more the Heidelberg style than the Sydney City style, to push the ball about in the back, waiting for the opportunity.
Yes, well, it's, we were saying earlier, they're two entirely different styles. Heidelberg's style is very effective, as the results prove. Crowd, particularly Canberra crowd, are not particularly keen on that style of football. I think that's why they've gone more for the Sydney City team at the moment, preferring the more direct style that they play. But Sydney City have settled down probably a little bit better at this stage, have almost drawn blood in a couple of incidents. And at this very early stage, and it's too early a stage to predict at this stage, they appear to be settling down much better.
So a push there on Mark Trenter by Pat Bannon. Pat Bannon gets a couple of words from Don Campbell, the referee, and away the free kick already taken. Joe Watson, tricky right winger, and the cross towards Trenter. Boden was up for it. This is Yzendoorn. Now Trenter, dispossessed by Bannon. Kevin Mullen. Tansey looking for one of his strikers there, intercepted. Now Jimmy Rooney. And the long ball, looking for number 11, Andy Bozikas on the right. Andy Bozikas, theoretically a left winger, popping up on the right wing this time. Bannon away. Trenter. Too long.
Well, this stage, Les, it's been a typical final start. Both teams a little bit tentative, passes going a little bit astray at this stage, and it's a matter now for the maturity to come in and the temperament to settle the thing down and to play their natural game. And the side obviously doing that first is going to be the one to get on top.
Here's Jim Campbell for Heidelberg. Brought down by Boden. A free kick to Heidelberg. About 6 minutes gone in the match, no score. In the 1980 Philips Soccer League Grand Final between Heidelberg, whose John Yzendoorn has just taken a free kick, and Sydney City playing in the blue and white, attacking the goal to our left. Looking for Trenter. Pat Bannon, the man who wins that duel, but gives away a throw-in in the process. Joe Watson brought down. Referee says play on. Kevin Mullen. Bruce going up for that, winning it in the air. Now Kenny Boden. Chased by Bozikas, shakes it off. It's still Boden. Some good skills from Kenny Boden, the Australian international, And he really is one of the men to fear in this Sydney City side.
And Kenny Boden showing there why he's regarded by most people as the outstanding soccer player in Australia. Tremendous skills, and he demonstrated them there with that fine run.
Now Mark Trenter. Challenged by Pat Bannon. Bannon used his hands in the tackle, says the referee, I would think. And so it'll be a free kick in a pretty dangerous situation for Heidelberg. And there's the replay of the foul as Pat Bannon rather gave the player a bit of a nudge with his shoulder in that tackle. Headed out, though, by Selemidis. Joe Watson now. Watson with the throw. Boden deflected off Bannon again, and it'll be a corner.
Yes, that incident there with Bannon and Trenter is going to be an interesting duel all afternoon. Pat Bannon, one of the main reasons why Heidelberg have done so well this season. Mark Trenter transferred to Newcastle earlier in the year, only stayed there a little while, came back to Sydney City and scored many valuable goals, and their battle there this afternoon is going to be most interesting.
So there, chance goes begging with Kevin Mullen nodding that ball over the bar and over the byline. So it'll be a goal kick again to Heidelberg. Selemidis the winner. Back to Yzendoorn. On his right is McMillan. Challenged by Spanos. Bozikas. Selemidis. Back to Yzendoorn. Inside to Bannon. Long ball looking for either Tansey or Jamie Paton, or Campbell up front there, but a little bit too long from Pat Bannon. Souness looking for Joe Watson on the right. With him is Tansey. Watson the winner. Away by Bannon. Jimmy Rooney now. Jamie Paton. Cole making a run. This is Cole. Cole the winner. Inside is Bozikas. Now Selemidis. Bozikas. No, but intercepted. So there, John, I suppose, was one of the quick breakaways that Heidelberg are very much known for.
Yes, well, that's the game that Heidelberg are known for, and which they also do so well. Probably their first positive move of the match, and it was almost an effective one.
Now, Gerardo Gomez, cool and collected, despite his age. He's really a sight to see in a crisis situation. Bozikas, Selemidis. All right, this is Selemidis. Now Bannon. Bozikas. My goodness, Bozikas, Andy Bozikas with all the chance in the world, eluding the goalkeeper from that through ball. And there is the replay. There he goes, evading the goalkeeper and putting it into the side netting. John?
Well, what a chance. What a chance. Bozikas did well to sneak in there and pinch that ball away, but a golden opportunity missed, and one which can prove costly by the time 4:45 this afternoon.
So that really was the closest chance in the match so far. Andy Bozikas will or may very well live to regret that incident. John Yzendoorn. Jimmy Tansey, Jimmy Rooney, Joe Watson, inside looking for Trenter. Now Bannon. Now Souness, out to Ken Boden. Good cross inside to Trenter. Trenter didn't do a good job of controlling it. It would have been a marvellous chance if he could have. Bruce to Boden. Spanos. Back to O'Connor. Switch in the direction of play out to Mullen on the right. Through ball. Much too long for John Stevenson. It'll be a goal kick to Heidelberg United. Well, there are 14 minutes gone now in the grand final. And no score. Mark Trenter getting penalised for a bit of a push on John Yzendoorn. And there's another free kick to Heidelberg United. Johnny Warren, 15 minutes gone, quarter of an hour gone. Anything either of these teams shaping up as superior?
Well, I don't feel so at this stage, and neither playing as well as they can at this stage either. But Heidelberg, after a really shaky start, have come back and into it, and it's the score reflects the state of the game at this stage, I think would be fair comment.
Kevin Mullen now. Gerry Cole. And surely this is it. No. Well, two excellent, glorious chances come Heidelberg United's way. The second one comes to Gerry Cole, who has scored 21 goals this season. But good bit of work there by the advancing Sydney City goalkeeper, Todd Clarke.
Well, two chances like that don't come every day, Les, and
certainly don't.
One has the feeling that Heidelberg may live to regret those two golden chances, really.
While playing against Sydney City, they surely are likely to. So it's a free kick, I think, to Heidelberg for a push by number 4, Steve O'Connor, on John Yzendoorn. O'Connor getting a bit of a talking to from the referee, and the free kick to be taken by number 2, Arthur McMillan. Once again, a good shot this time from Jimmy Campbell. Not as easy a chance as the earlier ones by Gerry Cole and Andy Bozikas, but there it is. A good snapshot from Jimmy Campbell, just eluding that right hand upright. So in terms of clear shots at goal, Heidelberg do look the superior, but I would agree with you, John, that certainly where the general play is concerned, it's very much even at this stage. Now Jimmy Tansey. Gerry Cole. Gerry Cole and Jamie Paton, scorers of 36 goals between them, and there's one of the reasons why.
And one of the reasons why Gerry Cole is rated as our top striker in Australia. Going to play a big role in Australia's immediate soccer future. And it's with shooting like that that he's scored so many goals for Heidelberg and also for Australia.
Gerry Cole. There are two good chances to him. The second one a little bit more difficult, really bringing the best out of Todd Clarke there, as you can see.
Yes, and a fine save by Todd Clarke while we're commenting on that shot. But Heidelberg really back in this game now. We were saying it's even, but they start the last few minutes really dominating the match.
And now a header from Yzendoorn. Well parried by Clarke again. John Yzendoorn, not very pleased with himself, but of course there's no reason not to be. He's made an excellent job of that header.
Yes, well, I think John Yzendoorn's probably saying that he should have placed that a little bit better. He's probably a little bit annoyed at himself. But a good reflex save again from Todd Clarke, who's working overtime at the moment.
So here's the corner, quickly taken by the short one from Rooney, cross inside by Tansey. intercepted. Rooney again. Cole. The offside trap. I'm not sure whether those two players were caught there, John. But certainly I didn't see a flag go up, and if Gerry Cole could have turned onto that ball, that would certainly have been another golden chance.
Yeah, he's probably a bit disoriented there, Gerry Cole. Surprised, I suppose, to find himself in that position.
Gerry Cole again, just tapping it inside, finding Souness of Sydney City with it, and now it's a chance for City to come back on the attack. O'Connor, Joe Watson, now Trenter. Watson, and Watson leaving it for Jimmy Rooney. Pat Bannon. Selemidis. Selemidis, one of the cultured midfielders in this Heidelberg side. He has had a fair share of the match so far, 19 minutes gone. Still no score, with Heidelberg in the last 4 or 5 minutes ascending to be threatening rather more than Sydney City. Selemidis or Campbell. This is Paton finding Bozikas. And still the duel goes on between Bozikas and Gomez, and Gomez is the one who gets the free kick awarded in his favour. Steve O'Connor with the kick, up goes Trenter, and he rather climbed on top of Pat Bannon.
There's another incident of the Bannon-Trenter duel. It's going to carry on throughout the afternoon. Paddy Bannon obviously has to control Mark Trenter, one of the main striking forces for Sydney City, and at the moment is just doing just that.
Now away comes Heidelberg through Paton, finding Bozikas on the left, chased by Mullen, and it's out of play, a throw-in to Sydney City. Todd Clarke had his work cut out over the last 6 minutes or so. Trenter and Bannon again, and this time the yellow card goes to Mark Trenter. Yellow card, of course, meaning that one more similar offence, and out comes the red card, which means instant dismissal.
Yeah.
Pat Bannon injured in that process.
Unless I think Bannon has collected a knock on the eye there, whether intentional or not, I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Paddy get a yellow card before the afternoon's out. It's that type of situation where Bannon has to control Trenter. They're both professional players. They're both aggressive players. And in tight marking situations like we've seen so far this afternoon, there's going to be a lot more of that.
And indeed, is it likely, John, that if things keep going in this direction, that Mark Trenter might, or rather Eddie Thomson might feel it safe to bring Mark Trenter off?
Well, he would. It's early days at this stage, but if this duel developed any more, I would think so, because obviously in soccer, if the guy is sent off, it leaves, there's no replacement as such. He's left, Sydney City would be left with 10 men, and with a player like Terry Smith, a prolific scorer, on the bench for Sydney City, that Eddie may consider that later in the game.
So away again, it's Heidelberg on the attack, but Sydney City recover. Number 6 is John Stevenson. Now Gerry Cole trying to break through, ball not quite falling right for him. Now Kevin Mullen. and the Bozikas for Heidelberg. Inside to Jimmy Campbell. Cole and Paton. But away comes Stevenson. Now Kenny Boden, challenged by two men, Selemidis and McMillan. And McMillan gives him a rather hefty nudge over the line, puts him out of play and puts him down and collects a yellow card, did he, John, in the process?
Yes, well, for many players, the only way to stop...
We'll have a replay of that, John.
The only way to stop the many skills of Kenny Boden is to foul like so.
Yes.
And it's a shame in soccer that the skillful players tend to attract all this attention, but that's the way our system, our laws of the game are, and it's very unfortunate because we're crying out for skilled players, not just here in Australia, but elsewhere in the world. And the only way to stop the skilled players sometimes is to foul them out of the game. And this is the incident that's happened now, with Boden still lying on the sideline there and possibly out of the game.
So at the moment, Sydney City down to 10 men as Kenny Boden, their most gifted striker by all means, is being attended to. Backheader by Trenter. Sydney City still on the attack despite being down in numbers. Now it's Heidelberg through Rooney. Here's the 1-2 back to Rooney. Paton is with him. Out to Gary Cole on the left. Challenge coming from O'Connor. So Kenny Boden back on his feet, and that will be a very, very relieving sight for Sydney City fans and indeed for Sydney City coach Eddie Thomson. That the man that will probably be the most dangerous weapon this afternoon is back in the action. Here's the throw to Heidelberg, Tansey taking it. Tansey again. Now Bannon. Gomez away. And O'Connor. Boden, first touch of the ball after his after that rather nasty foul. Gomez. Kenny Boden, or rather Ian Souness. Out of play, a throw into City. Joe Watson to take it. Watson again. Finding Souness, or Boden rather. And Boden's attempted cross parried away by Jimmy Rooney. It'll be a corner to Sydney City, and we're in the 26th minute of the match. Still no score in the 1980 Phillips League Grand Final between Sydney City and Heidelberg United. Pat Bannon coming away. Now Gomez. Jamie Paton. All alone up front. He had to bring the ball back to give himself some space. Arthur McMillan. Challenged by Bruce. Now Yzendoorn. It'll be inside, looking for Jimmy Campbell. Very fortunately for him, the Sydney City pass was misdirected, so away come Heidelberg again. There's Todd Clarke, the man who has been working rather more than his opposite number, Jeff Olver, so far this afternoon. Now Kenny Mullen. Campbell. Inside to Paton. Away by Gomez, or rather Mullen. And the Trenter Bannon duel once again rears its ugly head, I must say. It really is becoming quite ostentatious to this 10,000 crowd here this afternoon, and indeed dangerous for both teams. Now Selemidis. John Yzendoorn. Calmly and slowly, as is the custom in the back of the Heidelberg defence. Looking for the free man, for the short pass, letting an opportunity to go, to break away, develop. Yzendoorn, Trenter challenging, now Cole. And away comes City this time, through Boden. Sydney City players rather well marked, but here's a shot from number 12, John Spanos. Rather misdirected. A good through pass there, though, I thought, Johnny, by Kenny Boden.
Exceptional skills again by Kenny Boden, having a fine game, and his skills there led to an excellent opportunity. Brilliant through pass for John Spanos. A little bit anxious, over-anxious, and wasted an excellent opportunity. Probably Sydney City's best opportunity in the match so far.
Gary Cole looking for Bozikas. Challenge coming from Ian Bruce. And it'll be a throw-in to Sydney City. Bozikas having been the man who put it out of play over the touchline. Ian Bruce, one of the defenders in this 4-4-2 Sydney City lineup. They, of course, are only playing with two out-and-out strikers. They are being Mark Trenter and Kenny Boden. There's a good shot of the referee, one of Australia's FIFA officials from Adelaide, Don Campbell. Here's the throw by McMillan. Now Trenter finding Gomez. Joe Watson inside. Now Trenter. And away by Selemidis. Watson. Trenter. Well tackled by the wily Jimmy Rooney. And the cross from Watson heading towards Boden there. A bit of ping pong here, John. Not many of these passes finding the man, but here is one to Gary Cole, which is very dangerous indeed. And Cole has scored. And there is the opening goal of the match. Gary Cole, the scorer, after 31 minutes, the highest goal scorer in the Phillips League, and there's the shot of the Heidelberg bench. Gary Cole, Sydney City in nil, here in the 1980 Phillips League Grand Final, coming to you from the Bruce Stadium in Campbell. So now, perhaps, John, the task ahead, although it's obvious, for Sydney City, what really ought to be done.
Well, for Sydney City, after they started well, but since then Heidelberg have taken the initiative and are by far the better side at this stage. To me, the Sydney City midfield, which is such a key part of their game, just isn't operating or as effective as it should be. Credit, of course, must be given to the Heidelberg midfield for stopping that, but at the same time, very little to this stage has come out of Sydney City's midfield. And that must be remedied, of course, if they're to get back into the game.
So it's Sydney City away now through Ian Bruce on the left. Bozikas trying to intercept, but the long through ball, well gathered by Olver. The long through ball, John, not really coming off for Sydney City. There's really only one tall man that they have up there, and that's Mark Trenter. And if he doesn't happen to be on the end of it, it has to be one of the shorter men, well, Joe Watson or Kenny Boden.
Right, well, forgetting the duel that's going on between Bannon and Trenter, full marks to Paddy Bannon, because it's a Sydney City tactic to play the ball longer and hoping to, by using Trenter as a target man, to feed off him. But at this stage, Heidelberg are cutting that threat out, and perhaps a variation to from this long ball up the middle to play it out wide, as they do so well, would be in order.
So it's Sydney City through Joe Watson. Souness on the right, crossing inside towards Trenter again. Watson. And the cross towards Trenter. Easily gathered by Olver. Now Jimmy Rooney, there also is quite a bit of experience and cool-headedness in this Heidelberg rearguard, which Sydney City must be finding a handful. A shot from Campbell, was it?
Yes, a little bit over anxious again by Jimmy Campbell there. He had Paton and Cole in good supporting positions. Thought that he could try a long shot and perhaps catch Todd Clarke out. But always easy from here to say what a player should do. But I felt that if he'd have played it to either Paton or Cole there, that it was another good opportunity for Heidelberg to score.
Perhaps we can expect that from Andy Bozikas after he missed that sitter earlier on. That sort of anxiety. Now Jimmy Rooney inside to Jimmy Campbell. John Spanos inside to Watson. Souness out to Trenter. Souness again. Watson pushes it on towards Stevenson. Now Gomez. Play on, says the referee. No foul on Gomez. And the ball still in play. Kevin Mullen brings it back to Todd Clarke. So once again it's a Sydney City attack from Ian Bruce. Headed on there by Boden, and chasing it is Stevenson. Bit of eluding tactics there from Arthur McMillan. And in fact, push on Arthur McMillan brought a free kick to Heidelberg United. I think it seems now, John, that Heidelberg are even more content than before to play it nice and slow and play the keep ball game that they are pretty expert at anyway.
Yes, well, very much at this stage, with half-time probably 6-7 minutes away, Heidelberg would be keen to go in with this 1-0 lead. I was just surprised there was a little bit of hesitancy there in their defence, which almost allowed Stevenson through there, because if anything that we could say about Heidelberg is that at the back they have been very safe to date. And that was probably the first lack of concentration there that almost allowed Stevenson through.
So there was a foul on Jimmy Campbell, which brought a free kick there. There we'll see a replay of the actual foul. Jimmy Campbell, the victim of the foul, and it'll be a free kick to Heidelberg United. Jimmy Rooney taking the short one. Header from Selemidis, safely into the hands of Todd Clarke. Now the long ball over to Watson. And a tackle by Yzendoorn brings a throw in to Sydney City with just about 6 minutes to go before half-time in this Phillips League Grand Final. The score, Heidelberg 1, Sydney City 0. And well parried by Jeff Olver. Very well done indeed. A high ball that he had to run backwards to get to and pushed away, giving away a corner. But I'm sure he was quite satisfied with being able to do that.
Well, there was comment before the game that Olver was the reserve keeper before earlier in the year for Heidelberg, and that perhaps that he would be one of the weaknesses in the Heidelberg defence. But certainly today, and including that save there, he's done everything that's been asked of him in a first-class manner.
So Ian Bruce crosses it inside and a header off the line. The referee says no goal.
Well, there we are, just praising Olver, and he makes his first mistake of the game. But I didn't think it was over the line at all. Sydney City players appealing there for the fact that the ball had crossed the line, and the ball, for non-soccer fans, again, the ball doesn't have to hit the net. As long as it goes fully over the line, it's classified as a goal.
And there it is, Jeff Olver just letting it run through his fingers, and right off the line it was Arthur McMillan who got it away. And that really is as close as you can get, and is indeed as close as Sydney City have got to scoring in this match. Yzendoorn and Rooney safely. Jimmy Rooney, who's looking as though he's limping a bit. He's now running towards the number 6 for Heidelberg, Jimmy Rooney, now running towards the bench. And there you can see he's got a slight limp, perhaps more than a slight limp. John, I didn't see anything.
No, I missed the incident as well, but it would be a tragedy for Heidelberg if he was to go off at this stage. They need his experience, big match temperament to see them through the second half. Perhaps a break at half-time. Physiotherapist of Heidelberg working on it, and Jimmy Rooney will be back second half. But he's certainly not moving freely at the moment.
So it's Heidelberg again on the attack. Andy Bozikas, the ball deflected off the referee. Mark Trenter, the lucky man to get it. Joe Watson, Kevin Mullen. Out to Ian Bruce. This is Souness. Watson. Again, a goal-mouth scrimmage, and Jeff Olver left sprawling on the ground there as the on-rushing Ian Bruce got a foot to the ball, and here's the counter-attack. Gary Cole there, and the on-rushing Andy Bozikas misses it also.
Penalty.
And it'll be a penalty. A penalty has been awarded for a foul, either on Gary Cole or Jamie Paton.
Penalty for the push on Paton.
Here's the disc now.
Yes.
And the push was on Jamie Paton as Paton came rushing through. Gerardo Gomez gave him a nudge, and of course the incident happened inside the penalty area. And now it'll be a penalty to Heidelberg United, which could very easily, of course, take them into a 2-0 lead. Penalties are, as soccer experts say, are very difficult to save. They can only be kicked badly. And here's Gary Cole, pushes it safely into the right-hand corner, sending Todd Clarke the wrong way. And Gary Cole's second goal brings the lead to Heidelberg United to 2-0. Gary Cole, a happy man, congratulated by his colleagues. Gary Cole, 21 goals this season, and overall in the Phillips League. Overall in the Phillips League, in the 4 years of the Phillips League, he is the league's highest scorer. Paddy Bannon away, as Sydney City comes back to the attack. 2-0 down now, with just a couple of minutes to go before half-time.
Always a good time to get a goal in that critical time, a few minutes before half-time. Sends Heidelberg into half-time in a tremendous spirit. It pushes Sydney City down a little bit. And 2-0 at half-time. I certainly didn't expect it, but I think full marks to Heidelberg, because on the run of play, chances created, they've certainly deserved a 2-goal lead.
And now Jimmy Rooney back in the action, moving a bit more freely. And a through ball catching Gary Cole, the ever-alert Gary Cole, offside for not having more than, or at least one player between himself and the goalkeeper when the ball was played. Now Joe Watson. Kevin Mullen with the cross towards Trenter. Away by Bannon again, and Bannon really is winning this duel. Now Stevenson pushes it out to Bruce. Stevenson again. Long ball looking for Souness on the right.
Well, one wonders what Eddie Thomson, coach of Sydney City, is going to do at half-time. There's probably lots of things he could do, but one of them I would think is that Murray Barnes, the Australian Socceroo, who has been injured and was in doubt, is on the bench, whether he's fully recovered enough to come on at half-time. But I would think, looking at Sydney City first half, they've certainly missed Barnes's influence in the midfield, and I would think that's a distinct possibility, provided Barnes is fit, that he would be on the second half.
And there indeed is the whistle for half-time by referee Don Campbell, and the score at the end of the first half, Heidelberg United 2, Sydney City 0. So here's the kickoff then for the second half in the 1980 Phillips League Grand Final, coming to you from Canberra City, from the Bruce Stadium. And it'll be Heidelberg to kick off, who are leading 2-0 through goals by Gary Cole and Gary Cole. In fact, 2 goals both by Gary Cole. Heidelberg United playing in the lighter shirts, the dark shorts, attacking the goal to our left. Johnny Warren, we can perhaps expect Heidelberg to keep it very nice and calm, keep possession of the ball, particularly for these first 15 minutes.
Well, I would see 15 minutes here being a critical period. Heidelberg will play as they have in the first few seconds of this second half, retaining possession of the ball and using up as much time as they can.
So the referee is having a few words now with Gerardo Gomez. Gomez is not one of the players who collected yes, he was. He collected a yellow card in the first half. So he really is playing with fire at this stage of the game. There was a foul committed on one of the Heidelberg players. It looks like Theo Selemidis, who is down, being attended to.
And John Spanos.
And John Spanos, who was also involved in that clash, the respective trainers attending to their players. We've just been informed that the official figure for the attendance this afternoon is 11,126. The crowd, 11,126 here at the Bruce Stadium. And that really, John, is a marvellous
Well, I think it's a credit to all those who have been involved, the people of Canberra, the media people in Canberra, the soccer people, ASF marketing, everyone who's been involved. It's a tremendous success, and the spectacle put on here today, apart from this match that we're watching now, has been absolutely first class, and full marks to everyone involved.
So Sydney City now in possession. They have the uphill task. 2-0 down in this second half. Much of what we've seen in the first half so far, only a few minutes, has been taken up by those injuries. So the action still to come in this telecast of the Phillips League Grand Final from the Bruce Stadium in Canberra. So a throw into Sydney City to be taken by Ian Bruce. Long one looking for Boden, and finding him. Boden brought down. It'll be a free kick to Sydney City. John Yzendoorn, the offender. "10 metres has to be between the ball and the players, of course. And in comes the cross, well taken by Jeff Olver. There has, am I right, been no replacements yet, at least, in either team, John.
Yes, well, on first observation, that's the case. Obviously, Murray Barnes mustn't be up to it at this stage. I would have thought that he would have come on. But both teams have retained their first half lineups. And Eddie Thomson, I would imagine, is giving his current Sydney City players at least another 5-10 minutes to see if the state of the game does change. If not, he will have to make some changes. But here's Heidelberg. This is leading 2-0. They're just going to use up as much time as they can to keep the ball as much as they can and to frustrate Sydney City's efforts to get back into this match.
So a tackle from Gerardo Gomez brings another throw in to Heidelberg, who are once again on the attack. With about 7 minutes gone in the second half. Stevenson now through ball to Watson, chased by McMillan. McMillan doing the tackling, putting the ball over the line for another throw into Sydney City. Back to Bruce. Now Watson. Throw by Watson, finding Souness. Watson again. Towards Trenter, away by Rooney. And now Gary Cole again, the man to watch in this Heidelberg side. Chasing with him is Steve O'Connor. And O'Connor just that little bit quicker. Pat Bannon under that one. Mullen. Handball claimed, but the referee says play on. Mark Trenter. Tackled. No foul, says the referee. In fact, quite a clean sliding tackle by Arthur McMillan there. You're watching the 1980 Phillips League Grand Final live, coming to you live from the Bruce Stadium in Canberra through channels 0 and 28 around the eastern states. This, of course, is the first live sporting telecast of any sort for the new Channel O network, and indeed the first live Grand Final television coverage since the inception of the Phillips League. Jimmy Rooney brought down there.
Jimmy Rooney obviously recovered from that knock that he had in the first half and was limping so badly. Full marks to Heidelberg for getting him back on the field there and running very freely again. I'm amazed, being from similar era, if you like, to Jimmy Rooney, how he still keeps going, but full marks to him, and he's like, as they say, like wine, he gets better as he gets older. So.
And away comes Sydney City's Joe Watson now, trying to find Bruce on the left. And now this is Souness, chased by Bozikas. Bozikas winning the tackle. Bozikas now inside. Gary Cole. Jamie Paton. And now it's City again through Stevenson. Souness. Out to Bruce. Watson. Clash between Watson and the number 7, Theo Selemidis. Free kick goes into Selemidis' favour. There's the incident, rather hefty nudge coming in from Joe Watson. I think possibly unintentional. They both went for the ball and clashed, but it was Joe Watson who was judged the offender in the end by referee Don Campbell. Yzendoorn out to McMillan. McMillan again, an obstruction. Obstruction. No, the referee has not ruled obstruction. Arthur McMillan was in fact the man who, according to the referee, committed the foul. So it'll be a free kick to Sydney City. Away by Bannon. Now Spanos. This is O'Connor. Mullen. Bannon gets it away. Watson. Mullen on the overlap. Gary Cole is there to do a bit of retrieving work. Bannon away.
Well, we're looking at reasons why Sydney City aren't in the game as much, and there was one of them, that Kevin Mullen, the attacking right fullback, excuse me, the attacking right fullback, is a very integral part of the attacking system of Sydney City, and that was possibly his first involvement in an overlapping run of the whole day. And for Sydney City to get back into this game, we need, or they need, more involvement from both fullbacks, Bruce and Mullen, to support the attacking duo of Trenter and Boden.
So it's Sydney City on the attack. Mark Trenter with the throw-in. Number 19, Mark Trenter, who's been involved in a very heavy duel with Paddy Bannon earlier in the match. A duel which has subsided somewhat, much to the satisfaction, I would think, of the Sydney City coach bench, because Mark Trenter did collect a yellow card, which is about the stiffest warning you can get in soccer. Joe Watson now. Deflected off Jimmy Rooney, a throw into City. Joe Watson again, challenged by Tansey, dangerous cross just over the bar. That really is a very, very difficult thing to handle for goalkeepers when it goes that close to the bar. Had that ball gone to the right side of the bar for Joe Watson, it would have been a very, very difficult one for Jeff Olver to handle. The sun was in his eyes. Now Jimmy Rooney. It's a throw in to City. Kick rather for a foul by Rooney. Watson. This is Campbell. Away by Yzendoorn. Bozikas. Paton lets it go through, and it's Gomez who gets it away for City. Bannon and Trenter. Now Watson. Cross. Kenny Boden on the left, but he allowed it to go over the byline, and it'll be a goal kick to Heidelberg United. Well, 15 minutes are gone now in the second half, John. How the two teams standing up to it?
Well, I would think we'd stand by what we said at half-time, that if Sydney City didn't score in the first 15 minutes, they were really going to be up against it. They don't look like scoring at this stage, and I'm still a little bit puzzled. There's an obvious reason. Eddie Thomson hasn't made a change as yet, but Sydney City needs something. They're not playing with a normal fluency or positive approach to the game. And I don't think that the current lineup, the way it is at the moment, is going to get them out of it.
So City's still trying, of course, on the attack now. The attack which is just breaking down with Jimmy Rooney on the ball, but a good tackle by Steve O'Connor. There are the worried officials of Sydney City. David Childs in the centre of your picture, and some of the other officials. It really is, they really must know that it's an uphill task for them. Jim Tansey now with the throw for Heidelberg. Bruce. And Ian Bruce again, or rather Kevin Mullen. Out to Spanos. Souness. Long one, looking for Joe Watson. just a little bit too long. The crowd, I sense, would like Sydney City to come back into the match, as I'm sure we all would, to make a good match of it. There's still plenty of time in it. Something like 32 minutes to go. And of course, Heidelberg still leading 2-0. Kevin Mullen, Watson, or rather Stevenson. Tansey doing the tackling. And goodness, these Heidelberg defenders really are looking comfortable. Now O'Connor. Selemidis keeps it in play. O'Connor. Gomez. Bozikas for Heidelberg on the break. And very safely tapped back by Steve O'Connor in the end. Mullen finding Boden, whose pass is cut off by Rooney. Has Johnny Warren, has Sydney City changed its approach to the match much, or visibly?
Well, I think visibly they have. They've eliminated the high ball a lot the second half, but it's still early to say. There's still plenty of time for them to come back and win this game, but just the game is just not together. The passes are the yard out. Their touches are just not there as normally, and they're normally fluent game, again without taking anything away from Heidelberg, because they are preventing them from that happening. But just in normal, simple passing, it's just not there for Sydney City at the moment. Unless something happens shortly, this cup has gone Heidelberg's way, and most deservedly so at this stage.
So it's Heidelberg on the attack again. McMillan, through ball finding Bozikas. But Gomez is there. And finally, it's O'Connor who puts it back to Todd Clarke. Mullen, Joe Watson. Mullen again. Trying to push it past Jim Tansey, not quite doing it, or rather just giving Tansey just a little bit too much room there. And Tansey managed to get it away for a throw-in. Now Mullen again with the cross, away by Bannon. And it's Mullen again. Now Watson. Low cross, snapshot by Spanos. Good try from John Spanos. A good cross indeed from Joe Watson, who didn't cross it in the orthodox way, floating it towards the far post. Must have seen Spanos in position. And Spanos tried the volley, but not quite hard enough to trouble Jeff Olver. So it's Heidelberg again, Tansey now finding Rooney. And this time, Sydney City on the attack. This is Stevenson. Bannon away. Mullen. Watson, back to Mullen. Stevenson. Watson. Through ball to Mullen. Now there has to be a big man inside for this cross, but it's too low. And it's McMillan who clears. Watson. Paddy Bannon again doing the tackling. Really has been, I suppose, the tower of strength, John, in the Heidelberg defence.
Yes, very much so. He takes a lot of stick from supporters around the country, Paddy, but he's a very effective player, very experienced. He's had a great game here today, and inspiration behind Heidelberg, not only today but throughout the season. And full marks to him. I think the only positive sign, just looking at the game at this stage, for Sydney City is that their right side, which is such an integral part of their attacking system, the Watson, Stevenson, Mullen combination, is starting to operate a little bit, but they need a lot more from a lot more positive things coming from this right side. And Kevin Mullen, as the captain, was unusually quiet first half. He's come into the game a little bit now, and Sydney City would need him in a lot more if they're going to turn this game around.
I think he was very concerned with his defensive duties in the first half. Tight marking, and this time he's now come out of his shell and doing more of his.
Well, again, I think again any criticism as such that we have of Sydney City for not playing their normal game, that we must give full marks to Heidelberg. They're not as positive because Heidelberg's preventing them from doing the things that they normally do. So full marks to Heidelberg by all means.
So there's a free kick after a bit of a scuffle between Gomez and one of the Heidelberg players. It'll be Jimmy Tansey, number 3, who will no doubt float it into the area. And there it is, up towards Paton, away by O'Connor. And finally, it's Bruce who got it away for Sydney City. Now John Spanos looking for Joe Watson, a little bit too long for him, and much too close to Jimmy Tansey, who shepherded the ball over the line for a throw-in to Heidelberg United. You're watching the 1980 Phillips Soccer League Grand Final, coming to you live from the Bruce Stadium here in Canberra through channels O and channel 28, the first sporting telecast of the new Channel O network. The score at this time of the match is 2-0 in favour of Heidelberg, and we've got something like 20 minutes to go in the second half. And there are substitutions now. Number 8, Murray Barnes, finally comes onto the field, and I think it was John Spanos, who's had a rather quiet day, who had to come off. John, comments on that substitution? Well, or rather, John Stevenson, who...
in Souness has come off. Murray Barnes on. It's not necessarily that Ian Souness was coming off, but I thought Barnes was needed in the side, and then when the change wasn't made at half-time, I thought that perhaps his injury is a lot worse than we thought. His knee is bandaged there, and it'll be interesting now. It's very much a last card situation for Sydney City, just how much life and Murray Barnes can now inject back into the Sydney City side, because time is of the essence for them. It's running out, and 2 goals down, they've got the job really in front of them.
So there's a scuffle between Rooney and John Stevenson, which brings about a free kick to Heidelberg United. Stevenson penalised, and in fact spoken to by the referee. Once again, it'll be Jim Tansey to take it. Finds Rooney on the left, who has trouble controlling it, and it's a throw to City. Todd Clarke has not been overly busy in the second half so far, which was to be expected, with Heidelberg comfortably in the lead, 2-0. Now Mullen is brought down by Heidelberg's Jim Campbell. Quick already taken. And Heidelberg come away through Bozikas, through ball, trying to find Cole. A well-timed interception there by Gerardo Gomez brings relief once again to Sydney City. John Yzendoorn finding Murray Barnes, and there is the first touch of the ball by Murray Barnes, the first substitute of the match. Kenny Boden not quite being able to break through with one of those runs, but he was obstructed, and the referee has awarded a free kick to Sydney City in a very dangerous situation. Only about 18 metres out, 18 or 19 metres out. So this could be one chance, certainly, for Sydney City. The Heidelberg United wall erected, being asked to get back for the necessary 10 metres. And here's the kick, Stevenson. Bogged down in the wall, and no go once again for Sydney City. Joe Watson. Rooney's with him. This is Mullen. Now Kenny Boden, who really has to come back more into this match. And if he does, there'll be probably more of these sort of tackles on him. John Yzendoorn, that time the offender. And another free kick to Sydney City. Not much further out than the previous one. Floated in by Stevenson. Tansey gets it away for Heidelberg. Another throw to Heidelberg. Jim Tansey to take it. Andy Bozikas. Challenged by O'Connor. Cross not finding Gary Cole. So it's Bruce away for City. McMillan for Heidelberg. McMillan again. Now Mullen for City. This is Stevenson and Mullen. Inside is Joe Watson. Well, it's the longer ball towards Boden. Boden will have a shot. Well, the shot was on for him. He was about 18 metres out. A clear shot at goal, but unfortunately for him, it missed the far upright. Took a deflection, and it'll be another corner to Sydney City. Punched out by Olver. This is Bruce inside. Olver again. Away by Cole. Bruce. Chasing it is Spanos. With him is Mullen. Inside to Watson. Now Gary Cole. Jimmy Rooney finding Jamie Paton. Gomez caught in the sandwich between Paton and Campbell. And I think it's Jamie Paton who collected the yellow card that time, number 9. And the referee is giving him some advice on how to keep out of trouble. Yellow card, of course, meaning that one more similar incident, and it's the red card meaning instant dismissal. So free kick to Sydney City to be taken by Steve O'Connor. Out to Joe Watson. Had a try there by Trenter, only barely missing it. Good cross by Joe Watson. Now Jimmy Rooney. Yzendoorn. Bozikas. Selemidis. And the cross inside, much too long, much too deep. And another Heidelberg United attack breaks down, so it's again Sydney City on the attack. I think Joe Watson is on the ground there, John. A man who's been working very hard this afternoon, could be suffering from cramps perhaps.
Yes, he certainly is. Done a lot of work, Joe. Probably been Sydney City's best player at this stage.
And Sydney City on the attack again, but away by Bannon. The man who has saved them at the back on so many occasions in this match. And it's Todd Stevenson who's brought down by Jim Tansey. Another free kick to Sydney City. And number 16, Jim Patikas, is warming up, perhaps to replace Joe Watson, and that is a very, very sad sight indeed for Sydney City. Joe Watson, the little man who has worked probably harder than anybody else in the Sydney City attack to bring about that first goal for City and possibly later the equaliser, had now had to go off with crabs, so his replacement is number 16, 16-year-old Jim Patikas, a schoolboy from Sydney and a member of the Australian World Cup youth squad. City, up goes Trenter. Ball eluding him as well as other of his colleagues. Brings about a goal kick to Heidelberg. What changes can we expect from the Patikas-Watson switch job?
Well, it is a sad blow, without taking anything away from young Jimmy Patikas, that Sydney City have lost possibly their best player at this stage, Joe Watson. We did comment earlier that we thought that the right-hand side of the Sydney City attack was the one positive sign about their game, and now with Watson off, Sydney City's chances look really glum at this stage. Only 15 minutes left, 2 goals down, their best player off the field, and it looks like the cup's going deservedly to Heidelberg at this stage.
So as the minutes tick away, still Heidelberg leading 2-0 through those 2 goals by Gerry Cole in the first half.
We did comment earlier why we thought that Eddie Thomson hadn't brought Murray Barnes on at half-time, and just watching Murray move around here now at the moment, he's noticeably limping, and he's just not at full fitness.
So now it's Gerardo Gomez picking up the pieces of another Heidelberg attack as the minutes tick away. About 10 minutes to go in this match now. 10 or 11 minutes to go in the 1980 Phillips Soccer League Grand Final from the Bruce Stadium here in Canberra. Now Murray Barnes tries one, and perhaps we could see there the awkwardness. There was certainly a hint of awkwardness in the way he sized up that volley. Murray Barnes, and an unfit, or rather not fully fit Murray Barnes is not likely to save Sydney City in those remaining minutes. Jeff Olver, the Heidelberg goalkeeper, who's had a fine game so far, made a couple of mistakes earlier on, but he really has stood up to the Sydney City pressure all the way through. Now away comes Selemidis, and now Jamie Paton. Out to Bozikas. With him is Cole, and here's Cole now. Marvellous, marvellous goal by Heidelberg United. And that really will stand up as the best goal of the match so far. Beautifully worked. Jamie Paton, Jim Campbell involved. Andy Bozikas made a fine run, pushed it inside to the almost unmarked Gerry Cole. There is Bozikas there, pushing it inside, perfectly onto the right foot of Gerry Cole, and a prolific man like him doesn't miss from there. So there it is, 3-0 in the 41st minute, or rather the 39th minute of the second half. John?
Well, certainly man of the match at the moment for Gerry Cole, hat-trick in the final. Earlier in the week we were discussing the chances of both sides. It was summed up as a Cole versus Boden, and Heidelberg have been able to contain Boden, Kenny Boden of Sydney City, whereas Sydney City have not been able to contain Gerry Cole. 3 excellent goals, and certainly wins my award as the man of the match.
So Sydney City now trying to pick up the pieces in the remaining 8 or 9 minutes that are to go. And it really is a very, very uphill task. The best we can expect from them is maybe the one goal to save a bit of their integrity. Champions, Phillips League Premiership winners of the 1980 season have really outclassed Heidelberg on the previous occasion so far. Now find themselves 3-0 down as the final minutes of the 1980 grand final tick away. Again, it's Gerry Cole who was the winner of that header duel between himself and Steve O'Connor. So perhaps a picture there of which is has been the superior side this afternoon. McMillan away. Mullen, or Bruce rather, finding Boden, Trenter, and it's safely into the hands of Jeff Olver. Now Bozikas, so instrumental in that last goal. Jimmy Tansey looking for Gerry Cole, but the ball is out of play. It'll be a throw into Sydney City. The referee has asked the throw-in to be taken further upfield, which Kevin Mullen has already done. It'll be another throw-in to City. Boden challenged by Yzendoorn. O'Connor switching direction of play out to Bruce on the left. Now Gomez. Long through pass towards Trenter. Bozikas. Bozikas now coming to life really in the second half. Tansey crossing inside. Kevin Mullen finding Trenter. Bit of holding from Pat Bannon, brings a free kick to Sydney City. Pat Bannon giving Mark Trenter a bit of the old hug there, and there's the free kick from Stevenson. Punched out by Olver. Spanos. Now the shot from Murray Barnes. Five minutes to go in the 1980 Phillips League Grand Final, coming to you live through the Channel O, Channel 28 network from the Bruce Stadium here in Canberra. It is the first telecast of the new Channel O network on Australia's eastern states. Theo Selemidis now, finding Gerry Cole. This is Boden for City. Finding Patikas. Boden with a shot. Jimmy Rooney for Heidelberg. Finding McMillan. Jamie Paton.
Well, I think there's two firsts so far, Les, in this match. The first is that it's the first time that the title or any cup in the PSL's 4-year history has gone to a Melbourne club, and also the first time this year that Sydney City have had 3 goals scored against them.
And there it is, 3-0 down they are with just 3 minutes to go in the match. So this time it's a corner to Sydney City. Short corner to Bruce. Floats it inside, and a very good run from Jim Patikas there, just missing the header. And the back heel And a good shot by John Spanos as well. And that was a very close shave for Heidelberg United, which would have, at best, of course, saved a bit of grace for Sydney City. And Heidelberg player has been injured in the process. There's a replay of the incident. There's the back heel, and there's the shot from John Spanos.
Jimmy Tansey there, one of our main Socceroos in the quest for Australia's chance to get into the World Cup finals in 1982. A very key member of Rudi Guttendorf's current national squad, and he'll be travelling overseas with the Australian team next month when they tour Asia and Europe in preparation for next year's World Cup elimination matches.
So Jimmy Tansey up on both legs, a tough competitor. So once again, Heidelberg look as though they're going to finish this match unscathed. No injuries, no replacements, unlike the unfortunate Sydney City side, whose probably best player, Joe Watson, had to go off with cramps earlier. Here's the cross. Murray Brands. Stevenson finding Trenter. Stevenson again out to Spanos. Spanos really makes a bad job of that one, puts it out of play, and it's a throw into Heidelberg. Jimmy Rooney. Back to Arthur McMillan as another substitute is warming up, this time for Heidelberg United. And the man number 15 in your picture is Kenny Taylor. And we'll soon see just whom he will be replacing. Although there's only a short time to go in the match, there was quite a bit of injury time allotted in this second half. So we could well have 4 or 5 minutes left in this match yet. This is Boden, Bruce, finding Spanos, inside to Bruce, and the cross inside, and there's a back heel, and a big chance for Sydney City. The back heel from Kenny Boden nearly brought the goal, but finally it was saved almost off the line by the Heidelberg defence, and it'll be here's the replay of it. Back heel from Boden, Trenter was there, and it was number 4, John Yzendoorn, who got it away. So there's the substitution. Jimmy Rooney, the grand old man of Australian soccer, has come off. And Kenny Taylor is his young replacement. There's Jimmy Rooney, a flashing smile on his face as once again Sydney City come very close to scoring up near the Heidelberg goal. So it's a corner now to Sydney City in the dying minutes of this match. Quickly taken by Stevenson. And Mullen inside. Too high. So it's a goal kick to Heidelberg United. There's Jimmy Rooney sitting with his coach Len McKendry in the blue tracksuit. Len McKendry, of course, rumoured to be leaving the club, going to Marconi. But that, of course, is only a rumour. But certainly Len has had a fine season with them this season, despite the fact that this grand final is really the only thing that they look like winning. They've been the proverbial bridesmaids, never the bride, during the season. They missed out on the Victorian Ample Cup at the beginning of the season. They missed out on the Premiership by 1 point They lost in the final of the Phillips Cup, but now they're coming back to convincingly take out this very, very prestigious 1980 Grand Final. So by my watch, we are now into injury time in this 1980 Grand Final. Coming to you live from the Bruce Stadium in Canberra through the Channel O, Channel 28 network. Pat Bannon, coolly knowing all his tasks, all his efforts behind him now. Now John Spanos, Murray Barnes. Away by Bannon. And a rather desperate attempt by Kenny Boden. Pat Bannon finally manages to go down, having had a very hard game. And it's really a credit to him that he hasn't had any sort of injury. He really has gone through this entire season without injury, to my knowledge. And after a very tough encounter like this, he has probably just dropped down to take a bit of a break. Gomez now. Bruce. Murray Barnes. Now finding Cole is Jimmy Campbell and Jamie Paton, and there's number 4. There's number 4 for Heidelberg United. Jamie Paton, the man who has partnered Gerry Cole as Heidelberg's leading goal scorer this season. He has scored 15 goals before this one. That's his 16th goal of the season. And Gerry Cole, his goal-scoring partner, helped him along in that effort, pushing that ball towards him, and all Jamie had to do is slot it home into that left-hand corner. So, John?
Full marks to Gerry Cole there. A lot of lesser players would have, with 3 goals on the board, have tried to make it 4. He would have been fully justified in taking the opportunity himself, but laid it on for his scoring mate, and has brought up full time at 4-0. Thoroughly deserved Heidelberg. Against my thoughts on the game, I thought that Sydney City would win, but Heidelberg have been able to implant their method and system on the game, to the detriment of Sydney City, who never got it out of first gear all day.
So there it is, the final whistle has gone. The players are shaking hands, and there on your screen is the final score. Quite a staggering scoreline, considering that Sydney City were considered favourites before the match. But Heidelberg ran away with it, scoring 2 goals in each half. Gerry Cole, the hero of it.